Good morning, and we are live. Man, we've got a lot to talk about. Scotus just kicked Trump in the cooter. We've got a great guest this morning. Shannon is going to join us from down here in Texas. She's a candidate for the Texas State Senate District 11 position. You're going to want to hear what she's got to say. Trust me, folks. Let's do this. Let's jump right in. Good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a good day. We've got a guest here for you that I really want you to talk to. And I know we've got an international audience, and you're sitting here and you're saying, "Look, man, I'm in Norway. Why do I care about some Texas state Senate race or some?" Or I'm in New York, or I'm in California, or I'm in. We've got a huge audience, and I want to. This is why. This is the Texas 11th Senate District. It's down in Galveston and basically South Houston. Again, you're probably sitting there saying, "Why do I care? Why do I care about South Houston?" This is why. There are areas here in the state of Texas that are not just the state of Texas, they're all over the country. There are districts where billions upon hundreds of billions of dollars flow through every day that affects your life, no matter where you are. You may not be in Long Beach, but the Port of Long Beach is huge on the influence it has on your life and your purchases. Texas 11th State Senate District is exactly that. Marathon Petroleum's refinery is in the 11th District. That is massively huge to your gas bills. Also, just to give you a couple quick reasons, I want you to take a look at one of the largest container ports in the country is in the Texas 11th District. You also have one of the largest liquid petroleum gas terminals in the country in the 11th District. This is one of those hubs. This is one of those areas that, whether you know it or not, this district affects your life. And we are fortunate to have Shannon Dicely here. She is going to be, with any luck, the Democratic candidate for the 11th district. Let's bring her in. Let's hear what she's got to say.
Hi, Paul.
Good morning. Good to see you.
Great to see you. Thanks so much for having me this morning.
My pleasure. So glad to have you here. Again, I can't stress to people enough how many Democrats are out there busting their ass. I mean, and this is where you come from, right? I mean, this is your background, the advocacy, the getting out where the rubber meets the road, knocking on doors. This is your specialty, correct?
Yes, and that is exactly how we're running this campaign. After surviving breast cancer, I really got active in our local politics and did just what you said, was knocking on doors, calling voters, turning out people to vote, just really active in the local community because, like you said, the Democrats are out there. We just got to get them to show up at the polls.
Absolutely. And did I do a good job of stressing the importance of the district that you're running for?
Oh, I think so. I think the only thing you left out is that I really believe we can be the next SD9. SD9 is the district that just flipped, for the first time in 30 years. I just feel like this year is feeling different from all those years that I've put the work in, and I think we can do it.
Well, look, I want to ask your permission first. You never know what somebody's sensibilities are, and we don't know each other on a personal basis. I just know about your campaign because I follow things that are going down. I don't know if you know this, but Heidi Gordon's a friend of mine. I mean, I love her to death. I call her Superwoman. So I kind of keep track of what's going on down there in Galveston. You got Joe Jaworski running for Texas AG coming out of Galveston. You've got it is a center for, again, shipping. Everything that's going on there. I can be a little crass sometimes, so I'm going to ask your permission before I go there to talk about your opponent, Dennis Paul.
Oh, go ahead.
Look, yeah.
No worries there.
The Republicans have basically anointed someone.
Exactly.
When we move to the general, when we move to the general, you're going to be running against Dennis Paul, and Dennis Paul's whole shtick is Texas conservative values. Mm-hmm. As somebody who's lived his whole life in the state of Texas, I can tell you exactly what Texas conservative values are. Texas political conservative values are getting on your knees and holding the butt cheeks apart while billionaire broligarchs bend us over and break it off of us. That is exactly Texas conservative values. That is all they do ever. Their tax policies, their environmental policies, they don't give a shit about kitchen table issues. Mm-hmm. They don't give a damn about the cost of rent as long as their donors are raking in that rent. Am I lying?
You are not lying. And that's one of the reasons I'm doing this. I am a parent in the district who has been, not just politically involved, just actively involved in my community. And I believe that because, running for office turns out very expensive, right? So we've created this system where that's exactly who has been in office, people who can afford it. So they're very wealthy. And I believe, they've just completely lost touch with the needs of the district. And I think that's why it's important to have someone like me in office who is very connected with the community and knows what the needs are. Kitchen table issues, like you said, affordability, public education is a huge one that we've seen the attack right here in District 11 by our current senator in District 11. And of course, healthcare, because similar to, like you said, with the shipping channel, we have some of the best hospitals here. I was fortunate enough to be treated at MD Anderson for my cancer treatment. And we are #1 cancer hospital in the country, one of the best cancer hospitals in the world. And so many people right here in this district can't even dream of getting their treatment in a place like that. It's not right.
Yeah, it's really one of those districts that you have literally billions upon billions upon truckloads of money flowing through that district, and very, 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 very little of it actually hits places like League City, or actually hits places like, they just take the money and run.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, for sure. And, my campaign is rooted in community and, making sure that we get the resources we need here, that we make sure that our public education is strengthened and not tore down like it has been, like they've been doing in Austin, because of the money that goes to private education if they do it that way. So, we'd like to see that turned around and see some of that money actually helping the people in our district, not going to line the pockets of the billionaires that are really controlling all of Texas politics right now.
Along those lines, Shannon, we do a live show. And our audience is incredible. We have an audience that is filled with professionals, filled with very capable people, filled with I do not know how a backwoods hillbilly like myself attracts people like this, but I cannot stress to you enough who these people are and how accomplished they are, how informed they are, how ahead they're. Look, this is a question. One of the questions that just got posed. Republicans are trying to use the congressional a statement, actually, not really a question, but it leads to a question. Republicans are trying to use the Congressional Review Act to strip away regulation over public lands going way back, and they want to expand it beyond regulation, which is a very serious matter. This touches on what I want to ask you. People are really unaware, and this goes back to your advocacy. People are unaware how local politics drives national outcomes.
Mm-hmm.
They don't realize how somebody like a Paul Singer that goes in and buys refineries, billionaire Paul Singer goes in and buys refineries in Lake Charles, Louisiana, how by dumping money into these local races, these states strip away regulation. This is where the rubber meets the road. Mm-hmm. For this type of regulation, and they buy it on the cheap. Mm-hmm. They buy it on the cheap because it's a state race. Do you see where I'm going with this?
Yeah, I'd love, if you don't mind me, to bring up public education, because that's what I've been an advocate in, and that's what my as a parent, what I care deeply about. But that's exactly the same thing that's been going on with that. We had a school board election here where I live, in our very tiny ISD board election, where they dumped a ton of money because they were trying to flip the board so that they could get voucher-friendly board members in our little district. But it's just like you said, why are they dumping? Well, we know why they're dumping so much money in a small district like this, but you find it in everything. Of course, it's, people expect it to be related to energy and things like that. They expect it. But when you find it in every corner, when we're seeing it in public education, trying to use that money to ultimately, and with the statement that person just made too, with land, trying to privatize everything. And that's not how a community survives. It just isn't.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. They want to come in, they want to make the money, they want to grab mm-hmm. the money and run, load it in the Brinks trucks and haul ass and just leave devastation in their wake. They want no one to say, hey, you know what, you got to clean up your mess, man. Mm-hmm. We're more than happy to have you here doing business. We want you here doing mm-hmm. business. Hell, we'll pave the roads for you. Mm-hmm. But for God's sake, you just spilled 50 million gallons of oil out in the bay. Perhaps you should clean that up. Or the folks that work at your refinery have children and they go to schools. Mm-hmm. And those schools are massively underfunded, yet you are making literally hundreds of billions of dollars in this district. Do you think you could pay for a school,
Right. Absolutely. And, it also goes back to just accountability in general. We see it all over with our politics in I'm sure you go on and on about all of what is happening in Austin, where there is no accountability. We all know that. And just like you said, if something happens, we need to have accountability. And that's not to say that I don't know this is this beautiful balancing act that we need to do, because our district heavily relies on the oil and gas and things like that for the economy. There's no just getting rid of it, right? But we also need to make sure that we're having accountability, that in our transition, hopefully, to cleaner energy, that we're making sure we save jobs, that there are training programs that translate the work that they're doing into cleaner energy. I really think it just has a lot to do with accountability just across the board. And we don't see it in so many ways when it comes to Texas politics. And we need to.
I agree with you 100%, 100%. I do want to talk to you about turnout.
Mm-hmm.
Democrats don't show up in off-year elections. Especially Texas Democrats.
Not me. I'm there every single time they tell me to vote.
But you know why I'm laughing. You've worked on elections, but you know why I'm laughing. Off-year elections, special elections, primaries. Democrats don't show up. Texas Democrats really don't show up. That has changed this year. We are outvoting the Republicans in primaries. That is huge. And somebody, you can explain to our audience how significant that is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what that means. I mean, that translates broader to a national outlook. What we're talking about when you're looking at Texas and you see the numbers that we're seeing in the primaries, the Democrats are showing up, and literally more Democrats are showing up than Republicans in a primary. That is huge.
It is absolutely huge. So voting, it is my personal passion. It might not be considered a kitchen table issue, but it's why I got into all of this. If people aren't voting, they're not letting their voices be heard. So I graduated with my master's degree in political science in December. And every time there was a paper I had to write, I was diving into voting rights, why people vote, how people vote. So this is a love of mine. And it is very exciting to see Dems turn out the way they do. But honestly, they haven't been turning out because for 30 years, we've been telling them that their votes don't matter. We've had Republicans in control, and we've watched the system get tore down, voter suppression laws passed, all of that. And it got to a point where it was, well, what does it matter? And the apathy was fueling why people weren't voting. We, of course, make it very difficult also to vote here in Texas. There's a thing called the cost of voting index, and we're ranked number 47 of 50 in how high the cost of voting is. Because, without online registration, without same-day registration, our strict rules for accessing mail-in ballots, which is absurd, all of these things make it more difficult. We do have some progressive voting reforms like countywide. But while we did countywide, we also closed a bunch of polling locations. So it was we did a little bit of both with that one, right? So to have the Dems turn out now is fueled, one, by the fact that we have Dems on every ticket in the state, which has been a project for I think Texas Majority PAC, Blue Texas, and of course the state party really worked hard to get all the people. And that is going to help our turnout big time because people are like, I have somebody to vote for. And that is incredible. And then, I think there's just a lot of people are finally saying, you know what? I am actually fed up. We can't keep living like this. So yeah, seeing these numbers have been incredible. And, I'm positive they're going to ride all the way through the general. We're going to see those numbers.
Well, Shannon, I appreciate you being here. I do hate to cut it short, but we do have some breaking news. The Supreme Court has kicked Trump in the cooter and told him you cannot throw that. You cannot have just blanket tariffs willy-nilly. We're going to repeal those.
Do you think it's because he's not a king?
I do want to before you go, I do want to stress for people. You're a Texas Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
You are a Texas Democrat. Yes. Democrats here in Texas, we're pro-business. We are. We want you here. We want you to do well.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, we want to help, man.
Absolutely.
We're kind of a mind your business kind of people.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to smoke a little dope, you can go ahead, man. As long as
Oh,
you're not hurting
yes.
nobody, go ahead. Go ahead.
Absolutely.
You want to sell a little grass? Cool. Pay your taxes, follow the regulations. We're going to regulate you and make sure you're selling a safe product.
Mm-hmm.
That's who Texas Democrats are.
We also think that you should make your own medical decisions too.
Amen. Amen. And you should probably make your own decisions on, as long as it's two consenting adults, who's in your bedroom don't make a damn bit of difference to us.
Absolutely, it does not.
What I'm trying to highlight here is that Texas Democrats tend to look like America.
Mm-hmm.
You know, most of these issues, if you go issue to issue to issue, Texas Democrats are, yeah, exactly. Mike Riley here says, basically, be normal. You know, exactly. That expresses Texas Democrats to a T.
I think also, just like my shirt says, which shameless plug, you could get on my website. This is my campaign shirt, but it's rooted in compassion and empathy and inclusion, justice and kindness. And I think that's really what Texas Democrats are.
Exactly. I really appreciate you being here, Shannon. I really do.
So much. Thank you so much for
what I
having me.
want people to know is that there are people like you that have been involved, that get out, that you know, you've worn the shoe leather. You have seen it firsthand. You know what it takes to get out, knock on doors, and make these elections happen. And that you're getting involved at a local level, because that's where these fights are won and lost.
Absolutely.
And just before you go, explain to these people what just a few thousand people, just a few thousand. We're not talking about AT&T Stadium size. We're talking just a few thousand people showing up and voting in your district means.
It tells everybody that things need to change, that we need representation that actually represents us. We haven't seen that in 30 years, and we certainly haven't seen it in this district for as long as I've lived here. And it's your voice. And so showing up gets that out.
Amen. And it's the difference between winning and losing.
Yeah,
it is. It's a difference in a local race. A handful of people is the difference between winning and losing. So if you can get involved at the local level, you can change the soul of the nation.
Mm-hmm. I could not agree with you more.
Shannon, I appreciate you being here. Thank you for showing up. Good luck. I hope everything goes well for you.
I'll talk to you on the 4th.
Look forward to I look forward to seeing you in the general.
All right. Thanks so much. Have a great
she's nice. She's nice. The reason I wanted her here, I know some of you are still saying, look, Paul, this is a Texas state race. You have these races going on where you're at. And I'm telling you, there are districts in your area that are hugely influential as to what goes on in the national conversation. I can't stress to you enough what this district, let me bring it up one more time, what this district means to you. I don't care where you are. Internationally, I don't care where you are. Houston is known as the energy city. It is it is ground zero for America's energy policy. So yeah, everything that happens in this district, everything that happens in these very, very commercial, very industrial areas like Seabrook and Shore Acres. And, I by the way, I fished in Moses Lake before. I have. There's actually good fishing around here. There is, because they keep it pretty clean. Trinity Bay is a nice place to fish, but it's a nice place to fish because of regulation, because we stay after these companies. I'm just going to say it one more time. I'm going to say it one more time. Texas Democrats, we are pro-business. We are. I get the far fringe of our party because we are a big tent. We are a big tent. There are people out here on the far edge that anything corporate, they bristle at. But most people in the Democratic Party are middle of the road. They really are. They're middle of the road. They understand. You know what? I'm not going to start a business. I'm going to work a job. I'm going to get an education and I'm going to work a job. That is a huge percentage of America, the world, a huge percentage of the world. I mean, entrepreneurship is important. It is, but a lot of people just are going to have a job and they want those employers to do well. They just want it to be fair. And that's where Texas Democrats are. And I'm telling you, they're coming out, folks. They are coming out. It is huge that Democrats here in the state of Texas in early voting is going on right now, folks, in the primaries, by the way. If you haven't in your area, haven't figured out, early voting is going on all around the country. In the state of Texas, in early voting, where traditionally Democrats, they don't show up. They just don't. We don't show up for primaries. We don't show up for special elections. We are. Not only are we showing up, but we are rocking these elections, folks. That should make you feel good. That should make you feel good. Man, I hope your coffee's as good as mine. Mine is banging this morning. Woo! And look, get out and get involved with your local Democratic Party. I promise you, there are good people where you're at that you can help. You can help somebody just like Shannon. You can. And I know I will get the emails after the show that says, look, I'm on a fixed income. I'm a senior. I'm living off Social Security. I can't donate. I'm not talking about just money. I'm talking about knocking on doors. I'm talking about postcarding. I'm talking about just being the person when they hold the meeting, that make sure that there's a cooler of ice water there for people. All these jobs from bottom to top have to be done. I'm talking about volunteering. Give somebody a ride to the polls. Y'all have heard of the Souls to the Polls program. That's in churches all over the country. Those people meet through your local party. Get involved, people. We will change the soul of the nation. Faraday says, by the way, Texas Paul, I'm a California resident. Check my registration, and I'm registered, voting blue down the board. I've never voted red and never will. I'm glad to see it. Glad to see it. I am a partisan Democrat myself. Thank you very much. Ride or die, baby. Ride or die. Hey, Paul, here with you as always. Mr. Will, good to see you, my man. Good to see you. I never did get those. You're supposed to email me the pictures of the cars, brother. Just the updates on the cars. Didn't happen. I didn't forget, man. I didn't forget. E.T., it is less than 37 weeks until the general election. Make sure of your voter registration deadlines. Make sure of your early voting dates. Get involved. Amen, brother. Amen. Glad you're always here with the message. Well, folks, this just happened. And you talk about a hard left turn in the show, but hey, that's all right. This is good news. This just happened. Yeah, the Supreme Court just kicked Trump in the cooter. You know how Trump would have a temper tantrum and say, tariffs for you. That's over. That is over. The Supreme Court has declared that illegal. See, Trump was using the International Economic Emergency Powers Act, the IEEPA, to slap these tariffs on. That is over. And good Lord, is it going to be chaotic? I mean, I know the first question we're going to get is, what does that mean? What now? You're going to see about $100 billion flow out of the Treasury because companies like Costco and just every major importer is going to immediately, some have already filed suit to get their money back. On the heels of this ruling, you're going to see corporation after corporation after corporation where goods under these blanket tariffs, they ended up paying tariffs, and they're going to demand their money back. Rightfully so. They were illegally slapped on. What we're talking about is a specific set of tariffs. You'd see it when Trump would have his hissy fit. Oh, well, Canada hurt my feelings, so 25% tariff for Canada. Or when the idiot said, tariff the entire world. Y'all remember that? Just a blanket world tariff. That's over. That is over. There is specific legislation on how you can impose a tariff. This willy-nilly Trump just throws it out there stuff is over. Now, I don't want to sell you pie in the sky bullshit. Samita Fakeda, thank you for always being here. Out with the huge support. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Now, who's not going to get their money back? You. The companies raised their prices because of the tariffs, and you paid the higher prices. The companies are going to get their money back. The importers are going to get their money back. You are not. You are not. That's one of the bits of bad news in this situation. There's no way for it to trickle back down. The other thing is, does this mean that prices are going to immediately drop? No. No, it does not. No, it does not. And I bet you, I haven't looked at the Dow this morning, but I'm going to bet you it is on a tear. It is soaring this morning. Let's take a look. Let's go to the Dow. Dow Jones. Yep. Immediate spike in the Dow. Because companies know this is gravy for them. And I mean, pure gravy for them. And this is why. Prices have been going up and up and up over the tariffs. Of course, corporations, because they are the most upstanding, most giving people in the world at these corporations, are of course going to immediately lower their prices because their costs are going to go down. And if you believe that, I have a bridge on San Francisco Bay to sell you real cheap. No, this is going to mean big profits. Superwoman, Heidi Gordon in the house. Bull, greet your favorite candidates. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's so good to see you. I don't out people. I'm telling you, Heidi Gordon is one of the most capable, sharpest, knowledgeable people you've ever met. She's got a resume like you wouldn't believe. But she will not come on the show. She will not. She's shy. She is. But that's okay. I'm going to keep pressuring her. David Martinez. Good to see you here, brother. Good to see you. Yeah, folks, the idea that this is going to suddenly bring down prices, no, it's not. It's not. It's just not. In fact, it's going to pad the profit margins of most major corporations out there. They're going to just absorb those profits, but it should be a poke in the butt to the economy, which is a good thing. It is a good thing. But here's the problem. Does it mean the tariffs are going to go away? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Pavlo 101, sorry I'm late, dude. Good to see you, man. Glad to see the new memberships. Mad as hell, not willing to take it anymore. Good to see you here, brother. Good to see you. But this is what I mean. They're going to strip those tariffs away. But there are other mechanisms. There's Section 122 of the Trade Act of 1974. it's more difficult to impose tariffs that way. There are regulations, there are rules, there are caps. For instance, Section 122, there's a 15% cap. It's the only other kind of emergency mechanism there is where he could just slap a tariff on something. And it is focused on a specific product, a specific industry. It's not, oh, France, you hurt my feelings. Tariff for you. No, they have to literally go in and apply a tariff to a specific product. It's capped at 15% and it's limited to 150 days. That's 5 months. So it would be a temporary. Anyways, the only other one that they could use is Section 232 of the Trade Expansion Act of 1962. That is a more permanent option for the president. It's one of the few ways that the president can impose tariffs without Congress. It also has frameworks and requirements. And this is a good thing because these are not gifted people. They did not put people into this administration that are competent. They didn't. When you make them actually follow the regulations and you make them actually follow the law and actually do the work, they fail. They fail miserably. Forgive me. I don't know how it's going with you guys. Big country, different places, but man, I tell you, spring is springing here and these cedar trees are killing me. They're killing me. But no, Section 232 is a more permanent tariff that they can slap on. But again, it's limited to a specific product. And it has requirements. The Commerce Department has to conduct an investigation, and it has to be for national security. It has to be a national emergency, and they have to show their work. They're also limited to a 270-day window, which is quite a bit of time for a normal, competent person. But when you're incompetent like the Trump administration, they've been trying to slap tariffs on pharmaceuticals, for example. They've been doing one of these investigations. Looks like they're not going to make the window. So they're going to slapdash this through. They're going to put out a work product that is going to just get absolutely destroyed in court. So yeah, we're going to get these tariffs that, again, the Trump regime says, oh, I got to do this. It's an emergency. And then the companies in that industry are going to file suit and absolutely destroy these bullshit, slapdash investigations that the Trump regime conducts. It is. So again, it's the same old message. We're going to win in the end. We are, but they're going to do horrible shit. I mean, that is just the entire narrative behind the Trump administration. They're losers, but it doesn't mean they're not going to go out losing. They're not going to screw things up. They're not going to try. They are. Spicy Jester, thank you for always bringing us hope. Texas Paul, nice to see Scotus do something right. I'm sure the sweet potato racist in chief will get his underwear in a knot over this decision. Yes, because it ends that bullshit of, oh, you hurt my feelings, or, oh, I saw something in the news, or, oh, this idiot over here whispered in my ear, so tariff for you. No, that's over. That's over. The scary part is how it broke down. It was a 6-3 decision, which it shouldn't have been. It shouldn't have been. the majority opinion was blistering. It basically said, Trump administration, you didn't prove shit. Your job was to come here and prove to this court that there was a statute in the IEEPA that allowed you to do this, and you didn't. You basically just walked in before the court and acted like a damn drunk turkey. You know, I mean, it was bullshit. You didn't point to a single statute that said legally you can do this, which, as far as Supreme Court decisions go, that's about as harsh as it gets. I mean, they literally told them, not only did you not argue something, you just never even made the argument. But what I'm saying, what's scary about this is, look, I've got the breakdown here. I've got the breakdown for you here. You got Kagan, Ketanji Brown Jackson, Elena Kagan, Ketanji Brown Jackson, Roberts, Amy Coney Barrett, Gorsuch, Neil Gorsuch, and Sonia Sotomayor were all in the majority. In a case where the majority of justices said, you didn't point to a single law that allowed you to do this. There's nothing. But you still had Kavanaugh, Alito, and Clarence Thomas, that said, as long as there's a Republican in the White House, they're a king. They can do whatever the hell they want, even though they didn't point to any legislation, anything in the Constitution that proves that they can do it. We just think that they can if they're a Republican, because there's no way in hell Alito or Kavanaugh or Thomas would give that deference to a Democrat. And I got to tell you, that really is scary as hell, folks. You've got 3 members of the Supreme Court that are screaming as loud as they can, party above all. As long as there's a Republican, they are a king. They're willing to allow them to kill people. They're willing to allow them to just willy-nilly slap taxes on people. And I'm not talking about Congress. I'm talking about the president. And if that doesn't scare you, I don't know what the hell will. Because it's these institutions that are all that's holding us together right now. Mike Daly, the Dim. Hey, brother, sorry I'm late. Extra for the customer. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you. I really do. Glad to see all the Deb K. Glad to see all the new members. Glad to see all the new members. All right. ET, it's less than 37 weeks until the general election. Make sure your voter registration deadlines, make sure your early voting dates, get involved. Samita Fakeda, vote, vote, vote. Amen. Rocket R, thank you for the support. I really appreciate you. Raina Scott says, oh my God, I don't remember who said it, but I laughed when he said it is the wealthiest of the country suffering from Trump's tariffs. Yeah, no, it's you and me, and we're not getting our money back. Rich Lawton, dang, just remember to push share and like buttons. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. I appreciate you doing that. Pamela Bradley, thank you for supporting the show. Kit, I honor the Supreme Court growing a pair. What took them so long? Amen. Amen. What took them so long? Look, let's talk about that. Let's put a pin in the show. We got other things to talk about, but let's talk about this. It's a live show for a reason. This has everything to do with what you're doing. This has everything to do with the work you're doing. This has everything to do with the political trends in the country. Because I assure you, Roberts, Barrett, and Gorsuch, if Republicans, it was looking like they were just going to just absolutely sweep and maintain power indefinitely. Oh yeah, they would be giving the president this power. They would find some excuse or some reason. The conservative members of this Supreme Court are not bound by principle. They are not. They're looking at the polling. And they know if they give a president this power, they very likely are handing that power to a Democratic president. I'm telling you, folks, that is what's driving John Roberts. Metal Rabbit, Mago Uber Alles. Yep. Glenn, thank you for gifting the memberships, man. That is too kind of you. I appreciate it. Crafty Ash Gardner, thanks for gifting the memberships. I'm super grateful. Omniscient Sphinx, thank you. Get all your paperwork done, and if you don't have it, get your passport. Show no matter what. Show no matter what. We will not be stopped. Amen. Amen, brother. Spot on. But yeah, that's not the only thing going on in the news today. We've had several things going on, going in different directions that are just, this just happened. You know, we talked about Lori Chavez de Rimmer when she was appointed to the job. She was just one of the people that were going into this administration that had absolutely no business in their job. She was a former congresswoman who lost her job. She's one of the most anti-labor people in the country, and she was appointed labor secretary. Just a slap in the face. You may remember the show where we talked about that. Well, and I told you, she's just not a good person. She just isn't. She's just not a good person. Well, here we go. Following allegations and an Inspector General investigation, which is currently still ongoing, the Inspector General's office is investigating a formal complaint that Miss Chavez de Rimmer was having an inappropriate sexual relationship with a subordinate, a member of her security detail, and abusing her office by taking staff to strip clubs, drinking alcohol on the job, and taking personal trips at taxpayer expense. Her lawyer has denied the allegations. Yeah. Those are all like documented things, you know. I mean, those aren't things that, people make that allegation just willy-nilly. Yeah, there's credit card receipts. She did it. She did it. I would bet my hat she did it. But yeah, it didn't stop there. Apparently her husband was lonely. Coco, thanks for gifting the memberships. I'm really grateful. Apparently her husband was lonely and didn't handle it well. I don't know if he was jealous or what, but he kept showing up at her job. I don't know. Guys, do you do this? Do you show up at your wife's work? That's just a weird thing. That's just a weird thing. But not only did he show up at his wife's work, but yeah. Labor Secretary's husband barred from the department. after sexual assault reports. At least 2 female staff members, and that at least qualification means they know there's more coming. At least 2 female staff members said Dr. Shonda Rimmer had touched them inappropriately at the agency in Washington. Yeah. One of them is on camera, where he got a little bit handsy in a hug because he was making a habit of hugging staffers. One of them is on camera. Yeah. So, yeah. That's what I keep telling you folks. Are they going to do awful shit? Yes, because they're awful people and they keep proving they're awful people. But are they the best and the brightest? No, they're not. They're not. They're the kind of people that take an important gig like labor secretary and take the staff out to strip clubs. They're the kind of people that have don't fish off company docks, folks. Don't fish off company docks. That is good advice. Don't have your affairs at work. Don't do that. Don't do that. But yeah, that's the kind of people they are. And then the husband, you're the labor secretary, for God's sake, and your husband is barred from entering the Labor Department's headquarters in Washington, D.C. because of sexual assault allegations that happened at the Labor Department's headquarters in Washington, D.C. Are you seeing it? Are you, am I getting through? I don't want you to be, I know it's kind of gross feeling. I get that. I get it's kind of gross feeling. But are you seeing the light at the end of the tunnel here? When I keep saying we're going to win this, we're going to come out on the other side on top because this is who we're fighting. Dave Brown, you mean to tell me I'm not going to receive a Doge refund check? Nope. Mary Moker, appreciate you being here. I appreciate you supporting the show. Coco, thanks for gifting the memberships. I truly appreciate it. I really do. Tony Mason, thank you. Appreciate you being here. Will somebody explain why the FBI director Kash Patel is flying to Milan to attend Olympic hockey finals on an FBI jet on our dime? Yes, we will. Hermana of Delphi, good to see you. Kovishin. I visit my wife all the time at her work. She works from her office next to the kitchen. That's a little bit different, brother. Let's go back to this. Tony Mason. What he's talking about is this. We'll go a little out of order here, a little bit different direction, but that's okay. What he's talking about is this. This is who these people are. And they think you're stupid. The FBI released a statement on this. Kash Patel hopped on an FBI jet right now as we're doing this show. Kash Patel is in Milan, Italy. The director of the FBI hopped on an FBI jet and flew his ass to Italy so that he can attend the gold medal, the hockey round, where it's expected to be all the smart money's on it being USA, Canada. That's not a given. All 4 of these teams, Finland especially, has been playing incredible hockey. But Canada is just, I suspect Canada is just going to brutalize them. I really do. Finland has been playing, you would call it nothing but, I think the best word is elegant very elegant hockey. Just their entire style so far has been just puck control. But Canada is going to just talk about elbows up. It's going to be elbows up in their faces. It's going to be brutal to watch. But yeah, Cash Patel is there on our dime to watch the gold medal round for hockey in the Olympics. What makes this 10 times as bad, as I told you, before he was director of the FBI, his entire career was basically a right-wing shit poster. And you know what he bitched about all the time? This. But he would bitch if the director of the FBI would fly from Washington, D.C. to San Francisco to meet with, a special agent in charge, which is, the regional, basically what you would think of as a regional director for the FBI. He would actually be doing his damn job. And Cash Patel would, look at him jet setting all over the country, just having vacations on our dime. And then he's flying his girlfriend around everywhere on FBI jets. I mean, really, people, are you really buying their statement from the FBI that there just happened to be a law enforcement conference that coincided with his favorite sports gold medal round in the Olympics in Milan? Because that's what they're telling you have to believe for this to be anything other than a boondoggle, a hypocritical boondoggle. Jordan T., I'm feeling more positive about what's happening in the U.S. I would describe it as lancing the boil. Amen. Going to be gross, but yeah, good way to put it. Good way to put it. And this is why I want you to be positive about this. I want you to be more positive. Even Cletus gets this. This one's not complicated. Even Cletus understands. No. And there's more of it. There's more of it. We're getting more details on Kristi Noem's jet. They've been leasing a 737 MAX, and they've decided to buy it. And again, they think you're stupid. They think you're dumb. They're saying that this jet is for deportations. They're saying that this jet is being bought for a dual purpose role. They didn't even know a dual purpose role for the DHS director to travel some, but we're going to use it for deportations. Right. They're going to use this jet for deportations. I love you people so much. James, y'all are always one step ahead of me. You are always one step ahead of me because, yeah, this isn't the only picture we have. We have what has been affectionately dubbed the Lewandowski suite. What's been affectionately dubbed on social media and is starting to carry over to the news media, they're calling it the Lewandowski suite, following up the allegations of the affair that is the least best kept secret in Washington, D.C., that Kristi Noem and Corey Lewandowski are having an affair. They are jet setting all over the country in the 737 MAX, which is a luxury aircraft that DHS has been to date leasing. But Kristi Noem's decided she kind of likes it. She kind of likes it. She had to fly on a Coast Guard jet, and they didn't even bring her blankie. They didn't even bring her blankie. She's not digging flying on any of the other aircraft. So now you and I are going to pay $70 million so that they can make this permanent. They've been leasing it from Boeing. Yeah, that's over. They're going to cut a check for it, and this is going to be the plane that she flies around in all the time. And they have the balls to spin it. And this is all over right-wing social media already. The bots have pushed it out there that this is going to save you and me money. Yeah. Because instead of flying in a G5 or a smaller plane when it's suitable, or flying in, say, a Coast Guard plane that was going to make the trip, oh no, she's got a private jet on call all the time. They're actually telling people, and right-wingers are actually spinning this, that it's going to save tens of millions of dollars. It's just cheaper to fly this plane. Even Cletus heard that and went, "What? What? You're going to have a private jet with a suite on it, luxury laid out decorations and appointments, multiple showers, and it's going to be on call, but it's going to be cheaper?" Yeah, even Cletus gets that one. Yeah, Kate Maryland. I love that y'all are always so far ahead. I really do. Jordan T., I'm feeling more positive about what's happening in the U.S. I would describe it as Yeah, brother. Sorry, I didn't mean to go back so far. What happens? We're working on a new system, so I don't miss your comments. So what happens to it when she's gone? Yeah, you know what? This is the part that's going to make your head explode. DHS will own it. But I promise you, the Democrat will not want to be tarred and feathered over this. And they will probably sell it. I mean, man, and I'll be honest with you, I'm of two feelings on that. One, I'm like, yeah, get our damn money back. And the other part of me is like, no, I am tired of being on the high road. They're going to do shit like this, then they have to sit and watch. I don't know, Secretary Buttigieg fly around the country with him and his husband and watch their heads explode. That's where I'm at, man. Tired of being on the high road. Glenn Kaneko, after she tried to divert a Coast Guard plane on a search and rescue mission to come back and transport immigrants. I believe she did that to find her blankie. I think she did that to find her blankie. I was born at night, just not last night. Amen, Chandra. I appreciate you. I really do. But yeah, I mean, this is just literally just amazing. This is the statement that they put out. This is the statement they put out. This new plane will serve dual missions, both as ICE deportation flights and for cabinet level travel. Bullshit. The DHS spokesperson said in a statement this plane flies at 40% cheaper than what the military aircraft flies for ICE deportation flights, saving the American taxpayer hundreds of millions of dollars. This is part of Secretary Noem's broader efforts to clamp down on inefficiencies and save taxpayer dollars. Yeah, they're loading immigrants in frickin' cargo planes designed to carry tanks. Yeah, this plane might fly a little cheaper than that, but again, show of hands, how many of you think that a single immigrant is ever going to set foot on this plane? Again, $5 million, I'll sell you a bridge in San Francisco Bay. You can make a killing on tolls. Jeff Schuler, will the deportees get to ride in the suite with Corey and Christy? What a damn joke this administration is. It's more embarrassing every day. Wait for it. Wait for it. And we've got and stick with us, folks. We've got a very serious story at the end. But yeah, we really do need to talk about this kind of shit that's going on. But yeah, this just happened. Tell me this. You know what? I'm not even gonna prep you for it. I want to get your raw responses to this. This was just hung on the Department of Justice. Now I'm going to take a sip of coffee and I'm going to let there be dead air. And I want to see your comments roll in and your thoughts on that being hung on the Department of Justice. Weird Idaho liberal, low road, dark liberal, booga, booga, booga. You crack me up, man. You really do. You really do. Blanky, aka Splash Pat, Splash Pat. That's where I went. That's where I went. That's where I went. Yep. Yep. And you know, I had a thought when I saw this. Because it's one thing to read about something in history. It's one thing to see, like the Nazi banners hanging off of buildings and things like that. It's one thing to see that. It's another thing to live through it. It gives you a little different perspective. And it made me ask the question, is this like intentional theater? Like, they're replicating what previous fascist regimes have done. Stalin, Hitler, Un in North Korea, Xi in China. They're replicating what they do in area after area after area after area. And I really thought to myself for a second, is it because they're following a script that they think is going to take them to the promised land? I mean, do they think, are those prison bars? No, man, no. Do they think that they can just like go through the steps in a completely different country, completely different environment? We are not those places. We are not 1939 Germany. We're not. just the information factor is an order of magnitude different. So are they so incompetent and so stupid that you got somebody like a Stephen Miller or somebody like that that's saying, well, if we just replicate what they did, then we'll get to there? Or, and stick with me here, is it that they're just the exact same kind of personality? And because they're the same kind of personality, they do the same stupid shit. And I get it. It's 6 in one and half a dozen in the other, because you end up in the same place, no matter what the reasoning behind it. But yeah, I just, wondered to myself, that was the kind of thing that living through this is so different than reading about it. And when it comes to history, that's one of the things I try to do, is I try to, instead of just, oh, that happened, I try to take myself and put myself on the street in that era, in that country, and it, imagine the interactions with the people, and to make it real. And living through it now, I'm watching this banner go up on the Department of Justice, and that really was the thought that I had in my head. Legendary. That's hilarious. Chairman Mao Zedonut. They're no different. Miller is Goebbels reincarnated. Yeah. Goebbels would, yeah. I mean, he's literally following in his footsteps. Perfect. Jordan T. Timu fascist. That's the thing. That is the thing. I can't stress this enough, folks. We're going to defeat this. We are. They don't think that. That's what I'm getting at. I think it's emotion. I think it's emotion that drives these people. Somebody just mentioned PayPal. That's one of the things that you hear overwhelmingly about Peter Thiel, is he is fucking paranoid. He is hyper paranoid. He is almost, people talk about him like he's delusional. He's so paranoid. Some people say the whole bunch, the whole PayPal mafia, the whole South African, group of shit gibbons are all in what they call a K-hole. Doing so much ketamine, you've fallen down in the hole, and you're dealing with ultra paranoia, and you've lost touch with reality. These are the kind of things that people are saying about these people. And it just makes you wonder how this is happening. And if it's not just that they're not following a script, they're just as fucked up as a Stalin, pardon my language, just as fucked up as a Hitler. Spicy Jester, never thought we'd see a banner of a felon and child abuser being flown on the front of the Department of Justice. Amen. That was the other thought I had. How freaking ironic to have that picture on the Department of Justice. Rena Scott, they could turn the rump banner into a wanted poster. Yeah. Well said. Well, folks, we just had this happen. And you have to forgive me. I know I don't like to listen to Trump. You don't like to listen to Trump, but it's kind of important. This just happened.
I want to let you know that the United States is going to make a contribution of $10 billion to the Board of Peace. Thank you. And we've had great support for that number. And that number is a very small number when you look at that compared to the cost of war. That's 2 weeks of fighting. It's a very small number. It sounds like a lot, but it's a very small number. So we're committed to $10 billion.
Trump's kind of telling on himself there. Again, just getting in the man's head. He's kind of telling on himself there. See, he's a grifter. He is. And the presidency is a hard position for a grifter to be in, man, because those numbers are huge. You know that it's like me in a German restaurant, man. I'm going to want to eat everything. When you're an immoral con man and you're looking at budgets that are trillions of dollars, 10 billion. I just snatched 10 billion. No big deal. He can't help himself. He just can't. But there is good news on the other side of this. Lance Ledgerwood, thank you. If Trump isn't downright giving himself money, Trump putting his name and face on everything is costing money we have to pay. Amen, brother. Amen. Crafty Asgarder, I'm glad that I don't know if Donald is really this level of petty. Praise me. Look what I did. Award me for my greatness. Or if the nasty mouths like Miller around him bring that out more by their depravity. Again, it's one of those situations it's complex. It's not just one thing. It's that he's lost it. He's got gravy for brains. He's just not there. So you have the people around him like Miller that are just running their own ops. There's no central leadership from Trump. He's just not there until he has a middle of the night shit fit about something. And then he barks out an order and they're like, oh, well, if we want to keep grifting, if we want to keep flying around on the FBI jet, or if, I want to keep flying in that 737 Max luxury thing with my man, Corey, I got to get that one thing done that dumbass wants done. Janine, glad to see all the new members here. Thank you. But yeah, I mean, when I say he's gone, I mean he's gone. This was him at his inaugural Board of Peace meeting.
And the successful implementation of the second phase of the Gaza peace plan. This includes ensuring a lasting ceasefire and the successful implementation.
He's just sitting there falling asleep. He's just sitting there falling asleep. He's an old man who ain't all there. They give him some talking points. They trot him out, and that's it. This is practically Weekend at Bernie's already. Bingo. That's where we're going next. Cape Marion Light. I love that y'all are always ahead of me. Where is he getting the 10 billion from? He's not. That's what I want to tell you. That's the good news. He's not. He's not. You're going to see headlines like this. Trump reveals, and I love the National Review. Trump reveals he's taking $10 billion from taxpayers for his new board. Critics warn Trump's Board of Peace is essentially a slush fund he controls. He's not. There isn't 10 billion laying around for him to just grab and give his bullshit made up board. There's no avenue for that to happen. There's no legal avenue for that to happen. All of the money in the budget is assigned to specific places. And there isn't in that budget just $10 billion laying around for him to say, oh, here, give me, especially since the Supreme Court kicked him in the cooter over tariffs. Because they were claiming that tariff money, they didn't have to turn it over to Congress and, bullshit. All of that is over. And the reason, and and stick with me here. The reason he's saying it is his board of bullshit. His board of bullshit is it, there isn't, yeah, that came to mind too, but no, there isn't $10 billion in stolen Venezuelan oil out there for him to do this with. I'm telling you, he fucked up when he said $10 billion. He did. There's just not $10 billion laying around for him to snatch up and say, I'm giving this to myself, which is what it would be, because this whole board, and this is why he's doing it. This is why he said it. This whole board, it's nothing. It's vaporware. It's literally nothing. It's paper mache decoration. And for him to say, I'm just going to throw $10 billion into it, kind of makes it seem like a thing. It kind of makes it seem like a thing, but it's not. It's really not. Nobody that is serious is involved in this. Nobody. Not the UK, not France. The Vatican turned down free board membership. Xi Jinping said, no, thank you. Nobody that is serious is involved in this. And the money to pay for it isn't there. It isn't there. He can say all he wants about, oh, I'm going to take $10 billion and throw it in there, but that's bullshit. That money hasn't materialized. The other pledges that came out, and you have to keep in mind that word pledge. None of these countries are contractually obligated to actually come up with this money. None of them. This is not delivered money. This is like Trump when he says, I'm going to give you a healthcare plan in 2 weeks. It's literally that. These are the countries that also made pledges. I want you to kind of see if you can spot what all of these countries have in common. International member pledges, 9 countries have collectively pledged roughly $7 billion. These contributions include Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, which pledged $1.2 billion, Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, Morocco, Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, and Uzbekistan. What do all those countries have in common? Wayne, appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. For the most part, yeah. But that ain't it. Some, yeah, but not universally. Bingo. All Muslim countries. Every last one of them are Muslim countries. Lady Di, the 10 billion is from his IRS lawsuit. Yeah, right. Yeah, that hasn't happened yet. David Martinez, Trump knows that he's going to lose, so he's going to try to take the money with him. Here's the thing. This board, and again, I want you to stress, I want to stress that this was pledged money. These aren't checks that these people wrote. None of this money has materialized. And the overwhelming majority of it won't. It won't. Let me tell you a little bit something about the Board of Peace. It's just a made up thing. It's not from the UN. It is not from the United States government. This is just something Trump made up. There's no governmental role that this runs. I mean, Congress would have had to have created it. This is just something Trump. This is not. I can't stress that enough. It's not part of the American government. It's not part of the United Nations. It's not part of any government whatsoever at all. This is all Trump. And Trump, if you read the charter on this thing, it's laughable. It's a joke. The charter names Trump as chairman for life. And not only does it name Trump chairman for life, but Trump gets to choose the succession of any chairman to follow him. Trump appoints who replaces him. Trump has ultimate veto power over anything this board does. That's not like hyperbole. That's not an assessment of power. He's got the power to do. No, it's literally written into this thing's constitution. I mean, I don't know what you want to call it. That Trump has there's a board, but the board can't do anything that Trump doesn't want them to do. He has the ultimate veto power over all of it. And this is the laughable part. They couldn't really get people to sign up. So they created a temporary board where, like, you're assigned to the board, but it's got a 3-year term to it, unless you pay Trump $1 billion. If you pay Trump $1 billion, you got a permanent seat on the board. A board that doesn't do anything. And you wonder why no one of consequence took this seriously. This is why the $10 billion pledge. This is why he pledged $10 billion to come from America to support this. $10 billion that there's nowhere in the budget. There's no legal mechanism for him to take $10 billion from anywhere in our budget to do this non-governmental thing. And this is why people are saying this is Trump handing himself $10 billion, because the Board of Peace is a Trump board. It is not an American board. Dictator of the world like Chaplin's dance with the globe. Yep. I love that you people know stuff like that. I really do. I love that you people know stuff like that. Y'all are amazing. But needless to say, going forward, you're going to hear a lot from this guy. I want to introduce you to somebody. This is Nikolai Mladenov. Nikolai Mladenov. He is the new figurehead. He's the new figurehead of this whole boondoggle. But he is, let me read you his official title and you'll understand. He is the High Representative for Gaza. Remember, this whole Board of Peace thing is supposed to be about Gaza. It's supposed to be about rebuilding Gaza, which is why Trump intentionally made this not part of the United States government, because then he controls everything that happens, where every penny is spent. But Mladenov here is a Bulgarian diplomat. He was once the Minister for Foreign Affairs in Bulgaria. The reason that he is the figurehead for all of this, the High Minister, forgive me, let me get it right. The High Representative for Gaza is his title now. The reason that he was put in this job is because of his prior gigs working for the United Nations. He was the UN special rep to Iraq. When we were dumping a fuckload of money into Iraq. Yeah. When we were, all the humanitarian money and all of that, he was the UN representative while the corporations poked us spending money in Iraq. And even, I have to tell you, even MAGA members of the military are now talking about Iraq for what it was. It was nothing but a boondoggle. There were no weapons of mass destruction. We went in and killed 1 million Iraqis so that corporations could suck money out of our pockets. And we didn't even get the oil out of it. That oil went to China. It's Chinese firms that now run the Iraqi oil fields, overwhelmingly. Yeah, it wasn't even about taking the oil. It was literally about, for 20 years, forgive my language, but fucking you and me so that American corporations could suck money out of our pockets. This was the guy that was representing the UN when all of this happened. His next title at the UN was he was the special coordinator for the Middle East process, whatever the fuck that is. McBassage, all the villains want to join Legion of Doom. None of them want to pay for the clubhouses. Yeah. Mladenov even said himself, he was shocked when he was put in that position at the UN. The head of the coordinator of the Middle East process, that it wasn't a thing. Everybody ignored him. But if you read any articles about him, because now the corporate media wants to suck up to Trump, what they're saying is that, oh man, he's super effective. He is super effective. He's getting people like Netanyahu and Hamas to talk to each other. Shit. This is about dumping money into Gaza. And this is the guy that you want around when corporations are going to soak people for these kind of projects. That's why he is where he is. I have a conspiracy theory about him. I'll tell you at the end, so stick with me. Steve Ward, the Potomac River became a perfect metaphor for this administration. Yep. If you don't know what he's talking about, DC Water is supposed to manage a massive sewage pipe that crosses the Potomac. It broke and has been dumping raw sewage into the Potomac River. And Trump ran to a microphone when people were screaming, this has been going on for frickin' ever. When are you going to fix this shit? You're literally dumping shit into the Potomac River. You've literally cut off one of our inlets for drinking water, had to be completely shut because it was downriver from this. Why aren't you doing something about it? Trump ran to a microphone and said, it's them Democrats. It's them Democrats. Well, no, DC Water is regulated by the federal government. And the last time I checked, the Republicans were the federal fucking government. They own all three branches. So yes, it's a perfect metaphor for Republican failure to actually govern. And yes, he tried to blame Wes Moore for it. He tried to blame Governor Wes Moore for it when Wes Moore has no authority over this pipeline. He does not regulate DC water. That is the federal government that does that. And the last time I checked, that was Republicans. That was the Trump administration. So yes, it's a perfect metaphor for them to absolutely fail and then point fingers at someone else. But let me tell you something about Mladienow. People are like, oh, he's really pulling people together. He's really making this happen. And it's bullshit. It's bullshit. It's Netanyahu blowing smoke so that billions of dollars, they literally destroyed Gaza. Now Netanyahu is sitting here watching Trump grift off making other people than Israel pay to rebuild Gaza. But I got a conspiracy theory for this. I do. See, it's going to fail. It's going to fail. And you want to know how you know it's going to fail? Just one thing, other than it involves Trump and everything Trump does fails. This guy. This guy. See, everybody's trying to give Mladienow all this credit. Mahmoud Abbas runs the Palestinian Authority. They are the actual people that have legal authority over Gaza right now. Not Hamas. But Mladienow isn't even talking to the people that are supposed to be running Gaza right now. He's talking to Netanyahu, and he's talking to Hamas, and he's talking to one other group, Egypt. He's talking to Egypt. Egypt is on the southern border there. It's where many of the Palestinian refugees ended up in Egyptian territory. So whenever fighting breaks out, he can't do anything about Netanyahu. So he threatens Hamas. He uses Egypt to threaten Hamas and the Palestinian people. That's his big success, is taking a giant dump on the Palestinian people. Now, look, I'm no fan of Mahmoud Abbas. I'm not. We've talked about him on the show before, that his family, that basically he's a fat, toothless dog. He's a fat, toothless dog. Nobody's scared of him. Nobody's scared of what he's going to do. It's the reason that the far right, Bezalel Smotrich and Itamar Ben-Gvir and everybody shit all over the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank. They just take whatever they want to take, do whatever they want to do. Because Mahmoud Abbas and his family have a monopoly over the utilities and everything. We talked about the Falcon Group, and all they're doing is soaking up cash. They're doing what everybody does to the Palestinians, the Jordanians, everybody. They're fucking using them. They're using them, and they're not going to do a damn thing for them. So now we're supposed to believe that there is a non-governmental board of peace run by a complete fucking grifter that fails at everything, that is supposed to rebuild Gaza. You know this is doomed to fail. You know this is going to be a grift. You know this is going to be corrupt. They aren't even talking to the authority that runs Gaza now. And everybody knows it's going to fail. That's why nobody's getting involved in it. Everybody sees what it is. It's just another failure. And this is where my conspiracy theory comes in. Skeets there, all of this would not be happening if Beirut was not destroyed all those years ago. There are so many dominoes on the way to this. There are so many dominoes on the way to where we are now. But let me tell you what my conspiracy theory is here. Nikolai Mladenov is very close. I don't know if you know anything about Bulgaria. They share very close cultural ties to Russia. And Mladenov comes out of an era. See, Bulgaria has moved left, has moved west. This is one of the reasons Mladenov is not in the government in Bulgaria. Because the people running the government in Bulgaria now, the prime minister, the president, they're all very European leaning. They're very pro-Europe. So Mladenov is out. But he's close to Putin and Lavrov. And I don't have a damn thing that I can hand you to prove this is true. I just know that if I'm right, what the result will be. I think this is designed to be another American failure in the region. Skeets there, all of this is, yep. I think this is by design set up to fail. Thankfully, Orban will be gone soon. Yeah, the elections are not looking good for him. They really are not. You had our Secretary of State literally doing campaign speeches for Orban just a few days ago. Viktor Orban, just a few days ago. Beautiful country. Beautiful country. You should just go Google it and take a look. I think I think it is intended to be. See, the Russians aren't trying to take us on head on. They're trying to, death by 1,000 cuts. And they're using Trump and his incompetency and his greed. This is going to be a in your face, bright headlights in your face, top of the headlines failure. The whole world is watching Gaza, and Trump loves attention. And that's why we've got this bullshit $10 billion thing, because Trump's trying to make it look like a thing. But there is no thing there. And you're going to see so much corruption, so much failure. And we're going to take the blame. Because how many of you knew going into this that this Board of Peace thing was not actually a government initiative? You just assumed it was us, right? We're the ones doing this. We're building a coalition. You assume that was us. Well, the whole world assumes it's us. So who's going to get the blame when this guaranteed to failure fails? Skeets there. It is insane that all of Gaza looks like Kharkiv. I know. If you haven't seen images of Gaza lately, it looks like Dresden after World War II. It looks like it's been carpet bombed. I just can't help believe. I don't like to follow what people say. I like to follow what they do and what the consequences are. Most of the world doesn't give a shit about the Palestinians. Even in the region, they're just used. And to me, that's what this looks like again. Nobody ever plans to really rebuild Gaza. It's like Iraq. It's like Afghanistan. It's a funnel for money. And it's going to fail spectacularly. And they're going to blame us. They're going to blame us. And I can't help but believe that is what this is all about. I just can't help believe that's not help believe, but that's what this is all about. Skeet said, we will see none of them in heaven. All life is precious. This is the last thing I want to talk about. I know I've gone long and I appreciate you hanging out. But I want to talk about what we're doing. Again, don't follow what they say. Follow what they do. Trump tells Ukraine they better capitulate. They better give it up. The next thing that happens is they cut off aid for generators and everything that the Ukrainians need to get through the winter. Then they send Marco Rubio on a tour of the region. DK Walk, if Taco does it, it does not come from us. Yep. He goes to Hungary. He goes to talk to this guy in Slovakia. You've heard me talk about Robert Fico many times. If you follow the show. Little Marco goes to Hungary and he talks to Orban and gives speeches for Orban. Then he goes to Slovakia and he talks to Robert Fico, both of which are tightly allied to Putin. And immediately afterwards, both countries cut off diesel shipments to Ukraine, when much of Ukraine is running on generators. They're blackmailing Ukraine. Either hand over the eastern portion of your country, or we're going to make you freeze to fucking death. And little Marco is doing it right in front of us. They're doing it right in front of us. We're doing that. The United States of America is doing that. So yeah. Folks, I want to tell you, if you keep doing what you're doing, if you keep fighting, if you get involved, we will win this. But folks, we have to. We have to. This is the only way. This isn't just about us. This is about the world. This is about, and I don't care what your cause celeb is. I don't care if you're one of the Gaza bots. I don't care if you're, all about Ukraine or all about global trade or all about, it doesn't matter which faction of the Democratic Party you are. If you're just, hey, I like democracy, or if you're like, hey, I want a country that resembled the one I was handed for my children or grandchildren to have, there's only one way to do it. And that's elect Democrats. Period. Full stop. Patel and Noem, things are getting real. We have to get our country back. We are not the same. No, sir, we are not the same. We are not the same. Skeet Sarah, you get the last word. Good versus evil is the tangent now. Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. Folks, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. We're 8 months, about to be 7 months away from the election. Shit, that's a football season, folks. That's just a football season. Not much time. I'm going to spend my time filling the space with as many positive Democratic messages and as many negative Republican, negative Trump messages as I possibly can. I'm going to do everything I can to motivate people to vote. Everything I can to motivate people to vote. That's what we're doing here. So I'm about to go out on social media and I'm going to appeal to all of the members of our community on every platform. Let's build a megaphone. And I don't mean me. I mean us. I mean you. You talking on social media. Sure, I love that you're here. I love what we're building here. I love what we're doing here. But this isn't about me getting FaceTime. This is about us building an effective community that can go out like freaking warriors into the social media landscape, which has been dominated by right-wing bots, and build that momentum. It's about doing what we have to do to get people involved at the local level. Because in elections, no matter what Trump says, oh, we're going to federalize elections. Well, good luck passing that constitutional amendment, guy. Or, oh, I'm going to have ICE at the polling places. Oh, well, good luck with the logistics on that. Good luck. Good luck pulling that shit off. No, it's all bullshit. Because the fact is, all of these elections are won and lost in your county, in your precinct. And if you will get involved, we will just absolutely change the arc that this country has been on. We can do things like stop pushing hard power, stop every year adding hundreds of billions of dollars to our defense budget. You know what they're working on right now, folks? You know what they're working on? Do you know what our 6th generation fighter program is? It's about the most expensive drones you have ever imagined. They're building a system where they take one 6th generation fighter with a pilot in it, and then they attach a squadron of drones. Yep, the F-47 program. They attach a squadron of high-performance drones. And when I say drone, I don't mean like that little quadcopter you see flying around. I'm talking about a full-on jet air. I don't know if you know this, but the limitations of our fighter aircraft, the weak link is the human in the cockpit. They can build fighter aircraft that can go far beyond any of the capabilities that we build into our aircraft today. They're limited because a human has to be able to survive it. They're taking the humans out. It's literally going to be a swarm of billions of, no. I'm not talking about a Reaper. I'm talking about an aircraft that surpasses the capabilities of an F-22. flown by AI in a hub with one man plane, one pilot, surrounded by a half a dozen of these Uber drones. That's where they're going. That's where they're going. China is not. China is not. China has figured out soft diplomacy is the future. Because it doesn't matter if you've got the most badass military to ever be conceived or exist. It doesn't matter if there's no one to fight. It's just a stone around your neck, bankrupting us. They are good statement by Moot, but they're way beyond remote warfare. This is autonomous AI warfare. This is, the F-35 Raptor, the F-35, not the Raptor. The F-35 is not the preeminent fighter aircraft in the air because it is the most agile. It is not. It isn't because it carries the most ordnance. It doesn't. It isn't because it carries it has the most devastating cannon. It does not have the most. It doesn't carry the most advanced missiles in the world. None of it. What it's most advanced at is communications. We've developed a system where we have intelligence aircraft. You've got all of our aircraft wired together and working in concert. Now we're about to add AI attack aircraft to that whole concert. That's where we're at with our 6th generation program. And that's what they envision the future. I saw comments, Texas Paul needs to run for president. Well, let me tell you what I would do. I would gut the U.S. military. Skeet there. China will still make the mistake of invading Taiwan. They don't have to invade Taiwan. They don't. They're taking control of Taiwan. They are. And when I say gut the military, I don't mean literally. I mean, I would cut it in about half. We don't need the military the size that we have. We don't. We would be so much better served. Right now, I use Nigeria as the example over and over and over again because it is a perfect example. It is a perfect example. We're going in and we're killing people in Nigeria. They're fighting with each other. The whole conflict exists because they're struggling over land. For a fraction of the cost, we could help them reclaim their land. But that's not sexy. That doesn't make a good Hollywood movie. But it does make for a better life for all the humans involved. That's what I would do with the United States government if I were president. So everything would be about soft diplomacy and trade and relationships and immigration. All of the thing that the Republicans hate. And that's where I was going with this. That's where I'm going to land this plane. We have 2 paths ahead of us. If we fail, it's authoritarianism. It's fascism. It is people dying throughout the world. It is grift. It is corruption. It is literally millions of people will die. Or we change the path of the United States of America. We start worrying about people again and education again. and decency and bring the soul back to our nation. That's what's on the line, folks. That's what's on the line. We're building concentration camps right now, right here in the United States of America. The federal government has said that they're going to build facilities to start with, a couple dozen, to hold 100,000 people. To some exorbitant cost of like $400,000 per bed. It's outrageous how much they're spending on this. You don't need that for a people you're deporting. Let me say that again. You don't need that for deporting people. See, Germany's final solution wasn't its first solution. Its first solution was deport people. But that didn't work. Just like the Trump regime has figured out they can't deport their way out of the situation. So now they've moved to the camps, which was Hitler's second solution. Work camps. To take all the people that they hate and turn them into slaves. Then that proved problematic, and then they started killing everybody. They had to figure out what to do with all the people that they abused and were no longer able to use as slaves, and they started killing them wholesale. We're on that path. You don't need 100,000 prison beds for people you intend to deport. You don't. You just don't. So yeah, there's a lot on the line here. This isn't a joke. I want you to be happy about the numbers. Democrats are showing out, man. Even here in Texas, we're showing up. We're fighting. We have a chance. But I always want to remind you of what happens if we blow it. We have to be unified. We have to march in lockstep, and we've got to get this done. That's what I'm going to do. That's what this is all about. That's what this is all about. We can fight like hell to make the Democratic Party a better party. I'm all for that. But we have to put the Democratic Party in power in every branch of government. I'm talking not just Congress, not just the White House in 2028. I'm talking about the judiciary. And that happens at the local level first with your local judges. Let's get it done, folks. Let's get it done. Let's do this. Are you with me? Are you with me? Kate Marylight, lining whose pockets, I wonder? Certainly not taking care of those in the camps now. No. What's coming out of Dilley down here in Texas is horrific. You with me? Should we do this? I think we can. I think we can. And on that note, enjoy some Texas cities at night.